Chanju bardo danye yazoji, tajenju, kebesana, jola benjes, jobala. Zash, jim, bege, joji, medo, dharma. Zangye, jindo, mede, mewa, joge, idama. Menjala, gamne, yandaya. Thank you. Okay. So, welcome back, everyone. So we will continue from what we left off last week. So the book that we are going through is the Words of My Perfect Master, and then we are covering the 10 non-virtuous deeds, and we covered the first one, which is taking life. Taking what is not yours, stealing, basically, and so now we will cover the later ones. And now please listen to the upcoming teachings with the proper mind and motivation, which is whatever teaching that I'm listening today, whatever Dharma activities that I'm engaging in today, I do it for the sake of attaining enlightenment, for the sake of all sentient beings. So if you have any, if you have any questions, just you can just take a note or ask directly, or send to the chat box, and then we'll take it from there. Okay, and I encourage you to ask questions if you have any doubt. Then we can have more discussion. Okay. Okay, so first we will start from the book. The first of the 10 non-virtuous deeds is known as the taking what's not yours, or stealing, and the second one is the sexual misconduct. So I will just read from the text. The rules that follow are for lay people in Tibet during the reign of the Dharma king Sonsen Gampo. Laws based on the 10 positive actions were established, comprising both rules for the laity and rules for the religious community, meaning monks. So 10 positive actions are actually the opposite of the 10 non-virtuous deeds. 10 positive actions and 10 negative actions, so they are the opposite of each other. So when the basically 10 non-virtuous deed is, actually we are going through the 10 non-virtuous deeds, but just to sum it all up, there is 4 verbal negative deeds, 3 physical negative deeds, and 3 mental negative deeds. So mentally 3, physically 3, and verbally 4, which makes up to 10 which non-virtuous deeds. And when you abandon, when you get rid of the negative deeds, what remains in its place, or what comes after removing the 10 negative deeds, or each of the negative deeds, is the 10 positive deeds. The 10, he made a law, something called the 16 laws, actually 16 laws of humanity. Then it's based actually on the 10 positive actions. So, so the law at that time, in Tibet, laid by the King Songtsen Gampo, Dharma King Songtsen Gampo, who is a religious king or Dharma King Songtsen Gampo. There were 16 laws. It's called the laws of humanity, and it is based on the 10 positive actions. And this actually is followed by both the lay people and the religious community or the monks. So, so the book says that here we are referring to the restrictions on behavior destined for lay people who, as householders, should follow an appropriate ethic. Monks and nuns, for their part, are expected to avoid the sexual act altogether. So here, Pedro Rinpoche says the gravest sexual misconduct is that of leading other people to break their vows. Sexual misconduct also includes acts associated with particular persons, places, and circumstances. Masturbation, sexual relationship with a person who is married or committed to someone else, or with a person who is free but in a broad daylight, during observation of a one-day vow, during illnesses, distress, pregnancy, bereavement. Basically, we are talking about sexual abuse. So even if the person is your wife or your partner, your legitimate partner, but if you engage in sexual acts without their approval, then that is also breaking the sexual misconduct. So therefore, so these are to be avoided. Now, next comes the lying. Yeah. So the next is lying. So when we talk about lying, there are three types of lies. So the ordinary lies, the major lies, so let's call it the small lies and the big lies. And then there is something called in Tibetan Mijö Lamé Dzun, which is in English it would be something like a phony lama's lies or a fake lama's lies. So the first one is easy to understand. It's ordinary lies. These are, so there's a difference between not telling the truth and lying to somebody. So when you, I remember asking my teacher a long time ago, because even Buddha said sometimes when he was asked a question, he has said something that is other than the truth, or when he was asked a question, he would say something other than what is the truth or a portion of the truth. So we discussed this, and so maybe you can ask that in the question later. Anyway, so my teacher said that the truth, lie is something, it becomes a lie when you have the motivation or the intention to cheat someone. When you don't have the intention to cheat the person, then when you tell something untrue, it is not a lie. So one example is that there was a story of one person doing a meditation. I think that was Buddha himself doing a meditation, or it is during the Buddha's time. I don't remember the story correctly. So somebody's doing a meditation, and there was a monk doing a meditation, and then there was a hunter looking for someone hunting a deer, and the deer went to the right side of the to the meditator. And when the hunter came and asked the meditator, have you seen a deer and where the deer go? And the meditator said the deer went to the left, even though the deer went right. The meditator said the deer went left. In order to save the life of the deer, he said that. So the story tells us that the monk, the meditator, does not have the intention to cheat the hunter. So when you're cheating someone, you're actually taking advantage of someone. So the meditator actually wants to save the life of the deer, as well as save the hunter of killing a deer. So the intention is pure. virtuous and positive intention. So therefore, even though what is said is untrue, it is not a lie. So a lie is something when it's stated, when something is stated with the intention to cheat, then that becomes a lie. Yeah, and we can discuss more about that later though. And the second one is this is the any intention to cheat, any untrue statement made with the intention to cheat is actually a lie. So so any lies, any statement that any untrue statement made with the intention to cheat is a lie. And so therefore an example of an ordinary lie is any any untrue statements made with the intention of deceiving other people. That is an ordinary lie. So that means any lie that you make, whether it's an ordinary lie, even though lies are divided into three categories, whether it's a major lie or a funny lama's lie, they all belong to the first category, which is the ordinary lie. So ordinary lie or general lies in general are a statement, untrue statement made with the intention to cheat people. That is a lie in general. So so that is lying in general. And then when we talk about the major lies, the big lies, so that is, of course, it's an untrue statement, but unlike untrue statements such as lying about where you are or where have you been, or whether you have done something or not done something. Instead, this lie is all about making a statement such as there is no benefit in doing positive actions. So it's something like, okay, so when you make a statement that goes against the law of karma, saying if you do negative things, no bad thing will come to you. If you do good things, if you do a positive action, if you commit a positive action, no good things will come to you. Basically, if you tell people that karma, law of causality, does not work at all. So if you do a good thing, it is not necessary that good result will come. If you do a bad thing, it is not necessary that you will suffer. So whether you do a good thing or a bad thing, it doesn't matter at all. Law of causality does not work at all. And because law of causality, karma does not work, the person who spoke about law of causality, which is the Buddha, he's not speaking the truth, and therefore his teaching, which is the Dharma, is untrue. And the people who follow the Buddha Dharma, who help us to practice the Dharma well, the Sangha, is also not following the right path. And so therefore the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha were all in the wrong path, or going to the wrong direction. So if such a statement is made, that statement is known as a big lie. So it is lie in the sense that it was made with the intention to cheat the other person, and also it is an untrue statement. So therefore, such an statement that the law of causality does not work, or the Buddha does not exist, the Dhamma Sangha does not exist, so that would be something called a big lie or a major lie. Okay, so the third one is known as the phony lamas or the fake lamas lie, and that is something that the first lie and the second lie. The first lie is something that affects all of us. The second lie is something that may not happen to all of us, but only to people who have knowledge, or who have educated themselves philosophically or religiously to a certain degree. One may get the idea that maybe maybe law of causality does not, I don't have to abide by the law of causality. I'm above them, and something, that it is not. I am beyond law of causality. So to people who have studied a lot, to people who have meditated a lot, sometimes these thoughts may happen. And the third one, which is called the fake lamas lies. So this happens only to people with big names. So it does not actually, it may affect the people listening to this teaching, but it is not something that is directly, you know, the lies are something. The lies may not be something that you would um, encounter in your day-to-day life. So basically, what happens is it is someone who has a title of a teacher. Maybe it's a Rinpoche or a Khenpo or a Geshe or whatever, and then that a teacher. So someone is regarded as a teacher or a master, and then that person will say, I have studied this and that much, or maybe I have meditated for this and that much, that long, and so therefore I have a special power to see your future, which is called see your mind, see your future, which is called clairvoyance, and so that they will claim that they possess clairvoyance. So a person, whether it's a monk or whether it's an ordinary a lay person or non-monk, if they engage in this claim, they engage in this act of claiming that they have clairvoyance, that they know something, um, something that they do not know. Okay, so there are people who have clairvoyance, but if you claim that you have clairvoyance, even if you don't have that, or maybe if you say, I can heal you, or I can heal you, or maybe I can see your future, or things like that, when the person does not have that, then the person who has been cheated may not know exactly, but the person who is doing the cheat actually is doing a grave, is engaging in a grave mistake, a grave sinful act of lying. So of the three lyings, which is like the ordinary lying, and more than that is the major lying, but graver than the major lie is the lie of the uh, the phony lamas lie. So from the speaker's perspective, from my point of view, I have like for people like myself, we have to be very careful that we do not engage in such things, such activities, because people, respect us and then offer their hard-earned money and give their love and support and all that. So it is very important that we don't let things go into our head, and so we have to be careful. It is something very necessary for people who sit on high thrones and then have big titles. So this is something that we have to be very careful. And from the audience point of view, from your perspective, it's not something that you have to be careful of, because nobody, you will not have the chance, you will not have the opportunity to encounter such occasions much in your life. But people like us, we are always tempted with these occasions. So we have to be very careful. So the first of the four speech or verbal related negative action is the lying, and now the second is sowing discord or creating a rift between two parties or two sides. So so when you do that, someone who is living harmoniously, you are actually disrupting the harmony between two group or two people or two peoples. And so therefore, when you do that, when you engage in creating disharmony between two group, then that person may engage in negative verbal actions between each other, or maybe may also engage in physical negative action, like harming each other and so on and so forth. So therefore, this will create more and more violence, more and more harm, more and more negative actions, and so therefore it is very dangerous. So therefore, sowing discord or creating disharmony, creating rift between two people or two peoples is a is a very dangerous act, dangerous action, and so therefore it should be avoided. And then there are two types of sowing discord. One is something done openly, so that one is to just to openly sow discord between two people. The another is to secretly sow discord between two people. So when you are doing something openly, maybe you have some authority yourself, or maybe you have some sort of reasoning or truth, but you don't have the whole truth. You have a half truth, and then you tell that to people and sow the discord. And when you are secretly sowing discord, usually you are doing that out of jealousy or something. And so you say something behind the other person, like, okay, that person is saying this and that behind you, and so say something negative behind someone's back. That would be then when the person later learns about the negative things, then the person, there will be a discord between the two. So whether it's open discord or openly sowing a discord or secretly sowing a discord, you are actually disrupting harmony, and so therefore it is a dangerous act. And of all the discord, all the acts of sowing discords, the most dangerous one is regarded as the sowing discord between the members of the sangha. So if you tell, if you so that's one thing, when we should be careful. People like us, we are in the Dharma group, so we are here to practice, to improve ourselves, to develop ourselves further, to develop ourselves spiritually. So instead of engaging in negative deeds about others, we just improve ourselves, and let's not sow discord among the sangha members. So it's very important to refrain from engaging in gossip, engaging in any gossip in general, but especially gossiping about our Dharma brothers and sisters. That is very important. One should really, refrain from engaging in gossiping or sowing discord or disharmony, creating disharmony among our Dharma brothers and sisters. The main reason behind this is the Dharma brothers and sisters are something like it's like a help group. So we help each other to grow. And when there is discord among the help group, then instead of helping each other grow, we started to eat each other's. We started to, degrade each other's improvements and developments. And that way, instead of growing, we started to instead of growing, or instead of improving, instead of developing, we just degrade more and more. And so therefore, the help group actually, instead of doing what it's supposed to do, it just does the opposite of what it's supposed to do. And so therefore, instead of bringing the benefits that it's supposed to bring, it actually makes everything worse. And so therefore, it should be avoided. And especially if you have received, initiation, or like, mantrayana, if you have a connection, mantrayana or tantric connection with someone, then it's very important that one refrains from engaging in sowing discord among people whom you have mantrayana connection, because then that you will not be able to reap the benefits of practicing such and such mantrayana practices that you have received from if you sow discord among the people whom you have received with whom, from whom and with whom you have received mantrayana Dharma teachings. Now, next is harsh speech, making rude speech. So if you say something really bad, excuse me. So when you make a negative remark about somebody, like usually it's like criticism. So there's something called constructive criticism. when you criticize someone with the intention that that person improve, then that is a positive or constructive criticism. Um, but other than that, if you try to criticize the person in order to denigrate or destroy the dignity of that person, then it becomes it's a negative action. And so that is harsh speech is something saying something very rude. It doesn't necessarily have to be loud and rude. It can be very soft. But if you just say something like, if you make remarks about the other person's shortcomings, such as a physical flaw, or maybe if somebody cannot speak well, or if somebody cannot see well, or if somebody cannot walk well, if you call them by different names, calling them nicknames, or if you hurt their feelings, then it becomes a harsh speech. Even though it may sound soft, you may speak very softly, but if it hurts that person's sentiments, then it becomes a harsh speech. Of course, there should be the intention to hurt that person. Otherwise, sometimes when you say something with a good intention, when you mention to somebody, people might misunderstand and get hurt also, but that is not a harsh speech. But if you have the intention to denigrate the person, or destroy or deconstruct the dignity of the person, and then you make a remark of a certain kind, then that, however soft spoken you may be, that speech actually becomes a harsh speech. And it's negative because when you make a harsh speech like this, that the person may react either through mentally or verbally or physically, and then they, not just yourself, but the other person also engages in more negative deeds. And so therefore it's something we should avoid. Now the last of the four negative speech is mindless chatter, or idle talk. Sometimes it's called idle talk or mindless chatter. So basically it's something like gossiping. Gossiping is a big part of that. And when you engage in talk that does not bring any sort of positive result, when you are just mindlessly chattering about nothing, when you are just talking about world global politics, or just something that is very far beyond your reach, you're actually engaging in mindless chattering, because there's nothing much you can do. And if it's something that brings positive change to the world, then it's a different matter. But if you just keep like criticizing different people, that this person is not doing that, that person is not doing that, and that kind of thing, it's very similar to harsh speech, but in a different way. But in a certain way, it is similar to harsh speech, because it's trying to denigrate some other people, and it won't bring any positive solutions, and moreover, it's you're wasting your time. And so there are some examples that H.E.Tongkhor Rinpoche mentions here, such as that. So one big example is that here you mentioned reciting what one imagines to be Dharma but not. So something like the rights of the Brahmins. So he mentioned here. So it's a Hindu text. So if you are well versed in the Buddha Dharma, then of course you can, when you are well versed in the Buddha Dharma, Buddhism, then you can read other books, and you are encouraged to read other books from other traditions. So therefore your understanding, your mind opens up, your mind widens. But if you are not very familiar with the books that of the tradition that you belong to, for example, like we are Buddhists, if I don't know much about Buddhism, and then if I start reading about all sort of other books, then my mind will, just scatter here and there, because all the masters of different traditions, they are very good speakers, and they actually have a lot of followers, and so they have spoken very well. And like they say, however much of a liar or a cheat as someone may be, there will be a fraction of truth in it. So no matter how untrue the overall message may be, there will be some truths here and there. And that's why people usually say, all the teachings or all the religions or all the teachings lead to the same thing. And so therefore, of course, it's one thing to respect all the religious religions, because all the religions have big followers, and so therefore we should respect people's belief. That is one thing. But if we are to say that all the religions lead to the one same goal, then actually we are misleading ourselves. So, and that is one of the reason people say that is because they do not know anything about. They know little bit about all the religions, but not everything about any religion. So if you know, if you are well versed, if you are familiar with one particular tradition, whether it's Buddhism or Hinduism or Christianity or whatever, you will know that it's different from each other. So Hinduism is different from Buddhism, Christianity is different from Islam, and so on and so forth. But if you do not know the teaching well, then you will think that all the teachings are same, and then it will all lead to the same goal. Respecting different religion is one thing, but to believe that all religions lead to the same goal is actually a misconception, and that should be avoided. And if you do not know, if you're not familiar with whatever tradition that you belong to, or you relate yourself with, then actually you will end up making that mistake. So that's why H.E.Tongkhor Rinpoche tells us not to read the Brahmin's text or the Hindu text, not because it's bad or anything, but because if you are not familiar with your own tradition, then reading those books will actually lead you, it will actually mislead you, right? So that is one of the main reasons. And then another thing is I want to point to the paragraph 3 on page number 119, where he says, while you are saying prayers or reciting mantras. So that is also something that this is something that all of us should be very careful, because when we are reciting a mantra, we should be careful that we do not engage in any idle talk. So when we are reciting a mantra, and then actually it is very common in many Buddhist, predominantly Buddhist countries. They will engage in reciting. Tibetans, we do that all the time. I think in many other Buddhist cultures, they do the same thing. They were reciting mantra or doing some prayer, but then also backbiting and gossiping about different things. If you do that, whatever mantras that you have recited all goes into waste. So our masters, whenever I remember seeing many of my teachers, and they tell the story, the same story of their teacher doing the same thing, that when they're reciting a mantra and then they have to engage in some, it's not even a gossip or idle talk, it's like ordinary talk, like, do you want to drink tea, or something like very ordinary kind of talk, mundane talk. When they engage in mundane talk, when they are reciting a mantra and their attendant comes in and say, do you want to drink tea? And they say, no, I don't want to drink tea, or yes, I want to drink tea. When they make a mundane speech, then they start doing the recitation from the beginning, because if they are doing one round of Om Mani Padme Hum, they will go to the very beginning, because now they've engaged in a mundane talk, ordinary talk, and now they have to go all the way back to start it all over again. Okay, so we will stop here for today. The teaching shall stop here, and then I think there are a couple of questions.
Yes, we have a couple of questions, Rinpoche. I'll read the first one. Homage to Rinpoche. I have a question from the previous session. When doing business, we need to make sure that we are making profit. And also, will the process of making profit be considered as robbing other people's effort? That's first part of the first question. And the second part is when doing marketing, business people often advertise that their merchandise are good. However, there are always some unhappy customers. Will this consider as a deception? So is it considered cheating to get profit from others? Thank you, Rinpoche.
Okay. Yeah. So when a product is when a product is created, or when a product is sourced from a certain place, so there is the place, there is the product which it has been sourced from, and then there's the retailer, the person who sells it. So in between those time, okay, let's say like a precious stone. So when it is first sourced from the original source where it was mined, it may not be that expensive. But when you take into account the labor charges and the shipments and all things were taken into account, and then when it is brought into the retail shop, then you have to take care of the real estate cost of the retail shop, as well as the salary for the retailers and everything. When you take everything into account, of course you have to charge more than what it actually cost at the source location. And this is common knowledge to everyone. So both the person who buys it and the person who sells it both knows that this is not its actual worth at the source location, but then this is what it's retailed at. Usually it is say something like maximum MRP or MSRP, like maximum retail selling price, MRSP, or MRP, which is maximum retailing price. So it does not mean that this is the actual value of the object. It just means that this is the maximum, the retail value of the object, which means this is what we are selling for. And both the customer and the seller knows this. So since both the seller and the seller as well as the buyer agrees on that term, so there is no cheating here. So if there's an object which is the actual cost of which that I do not know of, and then you just put a huge number on, you just put a very high number on that without my proper knowledge, and without you doing any work on that, then that becomes a cheat. But when you, like a manufacturing, when you talk about a manufacturing plant, when it's actually manufactured at an actual plant in large number and in the factory outlet, in the factory itself, it can be, when you are producing a large number of product, it can be produced in at a minimal cost. But when they sell it at a retail shop, then the price goes up, and that is something that is common knowledge to both the seller and the buyer, and so therefore there is no cheating here. But when the cheating is something when you do it without the proper knowledge of the other person, and you can also call this the perceived, the actual value versus the perceived value. Even though an object may actually cost very low, but when they are sold at the retail shop, then the perceived value, when the person who buys a very expensive, let's say an iPhone, or maybe like a designer bag or something, they know that the object actually does not cost that much, but it has the perceived value of a very expensive object, and the person also, the buyer also is aware of the fact. And the buyer who buys a designer bag or a very expensive phone or a computer does not buy it because that is the actual worth. But let's say an expensive car or a designer bag, they're not buying it because that is their actual worth. They're buying it because they want to fling their status symbol, that they want to tell people that they have money or something like that. So therefore, it is not really a cheating, when they do that. But if you have the intention to, cheat somebody, and then change the actual cost of the object. So let's say there's this mug which cost like only $2, but then if I try to cheat, if I have the intention to cheat the person and say this is $40, then of course it is lying, and then you are accumulating negative karma. But if I, when people sell this thing at the shop, they always tell they always sell at a retail price, which is usually different from the actual price, and that is common, and there is nothing wrong with that. The buyer as well as the seller, they both know that when they are buying something, they know that they are selling it at a price that is higher than the actual cost.
I will read the second question. Are you ready for the second question, Rinpoche?
One in English is same as the first one, actually similar, I think. Yeah. Can you read the Vietnamese one, please?
Vietnamese one?
There is one.
The second question.
The second question is similar to the first one, so I think it's the same answer. A little bit different, but yeah. Okay, can you go to the Vietnamese one, please? Third one, please.
The third one, the last one, or the second one from Chi?
It's from New Mai.
Okay, I'll read that one then. Rinpoche, if a lie that helps others overcome their own despair and to live a better life, is that lie considered bad? For example, in the story, The Last Leaf by O. Henry, and is it considered to be a sweet lie? Thank you, Rinpoche.
Yeah, so I said in the very beginning, actually I haven't read the book by O. Henry, but as I said in the beginning, just because you said something untrue does not mean it's a lie. I said in the very beginning, very clear with that. So just because it is something untrue does not mean it's a lie. Okay, something can be untruthful, but it does not mean it's a lie. The lie is that say something with intention to cheat people, to get some to take advantage of someone else. So when you make an untruthful statement, it is not necessarily a lie. So Buddha, in many of his texts, has made, in some text the Buddha said all things exist. In some text he said nothing exists. In some text he said this and that things exist. This and that thing does not exist. So if you take it from on the face value, just from the statement alone, you have to say that if all things do exist, then you cannot say all things do not exist. And if all things do not exist, then you cannot say some things exist and some things do not exist. You cannot say that. So it would make everything that Buddha said a lie. So it is not a lie. If you ask me if it is untruthful or it is contrary to the truth, then it is so. Buddha said things that are contrary to the truth, but it does not mean that Buddha is lying. So yeah, so coming back to your question, which is that if you tell a lie, that's what usually we call if you make an untruthful statement in order to help someone, in order to alleviate someone's suffering, actually it is not considered a lie. For example, if somebody is in the their last moment dying, and then one of their friend also died, right? And then if you tell the person that your friend died, usually that person will lose all the hopes, and they will die that very moment if you know that their friend also died at the same right now. So usually we don't tell them that that your friend died or anything like that. And when they asked whether their friend died or not, we will sometimes have to say, no, your friend did not die. And then why he's not picking my call, I don't know, but he's not dead. He's doing okay. And that actually gives some sort of relief and hope to the person who is dying. And then even if the person dies, the the graduation, the gradual, the transformation of the person's dying process will also be much more smoother, because the person is dying with the thought that, even I'm dying, my friend is still living, and you have that sort of relief, or some sort of hopeful thought is there. But if you tell your friend also died, and this and that also died, and all the bad news, then the person loses all the hope at the time of death. And when you lose all the hope and you become despair, then it is very dangerous, because all the different negative thoughts will pop up at the last moment. So, we have to sometimes tell untruthful things to people who are dying in order to alleviate their suffering.
Okay, so I think you answered both questions
Yeah.
together already, so we have no more questions at the moment.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, Ms. Yan. All right, so we will conclude here. Dedication, please. Yeah. Yeah, lama je